This morning, Jack Carr, a former Navy SEAL turned best-selling thriller writer. Carr grew up surrounded by books and obsessed with the idea of serving his country. He is 2 for 2, turning both of his dreams into reality. Carr's latest book, In the Blood, featuring his hero James Reese, is out now, distributed by Atria, an imprint of Paramount Global. That follows the release of an Amazon Prime series, The Terminal List, which was based on Carr's first book. But Carr is facing challenges that now go beyond the battlefield or a blank page. To get the full picture, we took aim with him at his mountain home in Park City, Utah.
Nice.
Hit.
Yeah.
At 8,000 feet elevation, Jack Carr let fly. As usual, he hit the target.
Right in there.
Nice.
All right.
Including, on request, one that was not planned.
Take out the camera.
What is that? A GoPro up there?
Yeah, take it out.
Let's see. All right. See.
With deepest apologies, GoPro.
Do it. How does the camera look? Oh my God.
Oh, that's rad. No way.
It is here, in the Wasatch Range of the Rocky Mountains, that Carr keeps his innumerable skills sharp.
So I've had this dictionary since
used to have that
probably,
one.
yeah, this one, yeah.
Yeah, it's that exact same one.
It's
Yeah.
probably like somewhere around there, but as you can tell, it's been used quite a bit over the years.
Carr's mom was a librarian. He devoured thrillers as a kid, including the works of Tom Clancy, Ian Fleming, and Nelson DeMille. Inside his home, you don't need to look far to see those influences.
I have things on CIA kind of up here on the top part, things Iraq and Afghanistan, go up over there, more Revolutionary War stuff, World War I, World War II.
Carr decided he wanted to be a Navy SEAL when he was 7, in part inspired by his grandfather, who was shot down and killed in World War II. Carr served 20 years in the military, with deployments to Iraq, Afghanistan, the Philippines, and more. In 2018, he released his first book, The Terminal List, featuring a Navy SEAL named James Reese, who goes on a revenge spree following the brutal killings of those closest to him.
How much of James Reese is Jack Carr?
Very similar background. In that we were both prior enlisted SEAL snipers, and at some point we become officers. And in this first novel, you meet him when he's on his last deployment.
While it was still in its early stages, Carr was already dreaming of The Terminal List being turned into a movie or TV series.
You need to understand something. I have 12 men flying home in caskets right now.
Which just happened. 8 episodes on Amazon Prime, featuring Chris Pratt.
This is Lieutenant Commander James Reese. You need to send patrol units to 423 Cayman Street.
You know, I thought when I started down this path that you could just go to a cabin in the mountains and write and send your book to New York and start your next one. Maybe you'd get an interview on CBS, and then you just continue on writing your novels. I had no idea that you had to do everything that you would have to do for any business, for any startup. All right, so the book tour dates are on the website. Man, I knew I needed a website, and I knew I needed to have a social media presence of some sort.
Thank you, my friend. All right, go to your book signing.
All right, let's do a book sign. Let's go to the Reagan Library.
All right.
But in the lead up to that publication, for whatever reason, I took a breath and looked at the battle space. Essentially, that's what I do. And you look for how to capitalize on momentum. You look at gaps in the enemy's defenses. You look how to adapt. And so I looked at this space and thought, oh, what can I do that authors couldn't have done 30 years ago?
An unboxing. I think I know what's in here.
In this clip, we talk about the power of books and stories to impact cultures around the world.
Today, that includes a growing podcast.
This will be the library, but this is the podcast studio
Sweet.
right now. This typewriter right here, Hemingway's typewriter, he wrote Movable Feast.
Really?
Yeah.
Carr just published his 5th James Reese book, In the Blood, in May. But his writing has a purpose beyond just fulfilling a lifelong ambition. One of his 3 kids has severe special needs. When his middle child, a son, was born, it took Carr and his wife years fruitlessly searching for answers until they got a call from a former presidential candidate.
It's Ross Perot. And he sounds exactly like Dana Carvey impersonating Ross Perot on Saturday Night Live in the 90s. And what is going on?
Like Ross Perot's? What?
Yeah. So he calls and he says, hey, so-and-so, and I didn't even know the name, told me about your son, and we're going to fix your son, he says. And he said, I'm going to send the jet, and we're going to put a team of specialists together here in Dallas, and we're going to fix him. And then hangs up, essentially.
Turns out Perot, who died in 2019, had for years been quietly devoting his vast wealth to help military families. Carr's son became only the 13th person in the world to be officially diagnosed with a rare disorder of the NR2F1 gene, which causes incurable developmental delays. He will need 24/7 care for the rest of his life.
He's a sweet little guy. You met him, and he makes jokes and he smiles and everything. But when you think too far ahead, it can be daunting because you have to essentially make sure that someone is set up for the best medical care possible for 100 years. So for me, when I'm out there and I'm writing these books and I'm doing all, that's why I'm so driven, because that's a large financial commitment. I don't want that to fall on his brother or sister. So I want that to be all set up for him before my wife and I move on.
You're doing all this for him.
That's the drive. I'll sleep a lot better at night when his trust is fully funded, and I know that if something happens to me tomorrow, that he'll be taken care of forever.
Do you miss being overseas, being in the field?
I get asked that question, and you're supposed to say that you miss it or you miss the guys or whatever else, but I don't. And I think that's because I knew my tactical time was over. There's nothing I could do to change that. And also my family needed me, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do next, which is write novels like this.
Hard not to like Jack Carr.
I know, and it sounds like he's living his dream, and he has a mission behind it.
Absolutely now, especially with his son, raising a wonderful family in Utah. And I'll have to say again here, apologies to GoPro.
I know.
It's not Jack's fault.
It did not make it.
You know what? Let's be clear. It's Jeff being Jeff.
We clearly dared him. But it was the first shot he took.
There it is. But he's a marksman.
That's right.
Should have expected it.
He is a sniper.
He
That's
seems
true.
like he goes full force into everything he does.
Absolutely.